Buttons give visitors a way to control parts of the movie, so you're going to be needing to do this for your assignment this week. You can use button symbols to create interactive buttons that respond to mouse clicks, rollovers, or visitor interaction. So buttons are actually made up of 4-frame interactive movie clips, and the first 3 frames display the button's 3 possible states, which is up, over, and down. And the fourth frame is just a hit. And so this defines the active area of the button. So the timeline for a button doesn't play like other movie. It reacts to pointer movement and action by jumping to and displaying the appropriate frame. So you can create the image that represents your button in several ways. For example, you can bring in an existing graphic and you can create that as a button, or you can just create a simple shape by using the drawing tool. So this is what we're going to do for this exercise. So I'm going to go ahead. I made a new frame, file, ActionScript 3, and I'm going to just go up and insert a symbol. Insert timeline, and I'm going to insert a symbol. Insert new symbol. And I'm going to call this first one on. Just going to call this my on button and hit OK. And you see that it goes out into the symbols timeline. And you see there's already a layer. I'm going to name this button. It's always good to name your layers. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select a rectangle tool. And you see I've already chose the color black for my stroke, and I just have 2 points. And then I chose a blue color. And I'm also going to put like a little round corner right here. Is this where you put the corner radius for your rectangle tool. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and create my first button. Just going to kind of set this, so I want it to be kind of like right in the center here. Okay. So this is my upstate. So your upstate is what your user is going to see when they first come to your site. So this is the appearance. Then the overstate represents the button's appearance when the pointer rolls over it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to insert a keyframe here. So I have to insert a keyframe, and then I'm going to change my color. I'm just going to change it to a red color just so that you can see it. Now the down represents the button's appearance as it is clicked. I'm going to insert a keyframe again, and I'm going to change the color just so that you can see what I'm doing here. Now the hit defines the area that will respond to the mouse click. So this is invisible and it's not going to be seen when you publish your movie. But I'm just going to go ahead and insert a keyframe there too. So I have my up, my over, my down, and my hit. Now I'm going to go back to my update. Now I can actually just put text right on this, but I really don't want to do that, because what if I want to take this and make a duplicate of this button and use it for a navigation? I make a lot of work for myself if I don't do this correctly. So I'm just going to go ahead and put another layer, and I'm going to call this one my text. So you see that the first keyframe already has, the first one here already has a keyframe in it. So I'm going to go ahead and put my text in it. I'm going to choose a white color, no stroke. I've already selected text over in my properties panel. I already chose Arial. So I have this set at 28. Let's see how it looks. I have it set at bold and my color is white. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write on. I think it's a little small, so I'm going to have to make it a little bigger. Okay. Now I want this to be centered correctly, so I'm going to select, I'm going to make sure that I have my ruler selected. I'm going to use this this tool right here, your scale tool, and just drag a little guide. I want to get this to be right in the center. Okay. And now I'm going to select my text. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make sure that that's right in the center. There. It just looks so much better when you do this correctly in the first place. Alright, so I have my on button. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to select over. I'm going to insert a keyframe. Remember, your over is represents the button's appearance when the mouse rolls over. So I'm going to change my text color only so you can see the different effects as I'm working on this. I'm just going to select right in here and maybe just select a yellow. And then I'm going to choose my down. I'm going to insert a keyframe for that. And I'm going to select just the color black. And the hit will be exactly the same. So this is what I have so far. So let's see how this looks. Let's go out to the scene and let's drag this button out of the library. I'm going to put it right in there. I can change the size of this button. I can do whatever I want to it. Once I bring it out here, I can do, I can make it small or larger, whatever I want. So let's just see how this looks. Control, test, in Flash. Okay, I like what I have. Now what if you want to make a duplicate of this? Very simply go over into library and right click and just scroll down until you see duplicate right here. And just give it a different name. I'm going to call this one off. And hit OK. So obviously I have to change the text. So let me just go back out to the timeline and I'm going to select my text. I'm going to keep everything the same except for the text. I'm going to write in off. I'm going to make sure that it's aligned correctly and do the same thing. Select the scale to OK. I'm going to go through each one and do the same thing. I'm going to change my text. There we go. Make sure it's aligned. Okay, so let's go out to the scene. Now I have two buttons. I have my on and I'm going to select my off. And I want to make sure that they're both aligned together. I'm going to bring them more to the center. Okay, so let's see how they look. Now when you're creating your buttons, you want them to look the same. So whatever you decide in your project, as I don't know what you're working on, if you're working on alphabets or colors or shapes or words or whatever button you use, they all should look alike. You should use the same colors for your, your out, your upstate, same color for your overstate, the same text, the same font, everything. Consistency is very important in any project that you work on, whether it's a Flash project or a web design project. It's very important to keep everything consistent. So now I'm going to go and I am going to put some sound on my buttons. Let's start with the on one. I'm going to put a layer on top and I'm going to call this sound. Now sound is very very particular. You have to be very careful. I only put sound in the down for the button. If I put it in the over button, then it's going to play in the up, it's going to play in the over, and it's going to create an echo. So I'm just going to put sound on the down. So I'm going to just put a keyframe there. I'm going to insert one keyframe right there at the down. And I'm going to go out and I'm going to import a sound. I'm going to import it to my library. The first one I'm going to choose is going to be this little growl. I'm going to hit open. I can actually go and listen to it in my library over here. And select the sound and listen to it. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that I still at this keyframe. I'm going to drag this out And there you go. See, it populates just where I want it. Now let's go see what it sounds like. Let's go, whoops, let's go out and go Control, Test, and Flashback. Let's see. Okay. Now let me show you what can happen if you don't do this correctly. Let me just, let's just go out and do the on button. The off button. Okay? So here we are at the off button. And I put the sound in. Put a layer in. Sound. And I decide I'm going to put my sound in the over. So I'm going to insert a keyframe. I'm going to go out and get a different sound. Let's see. How about the horse? And I hit open. Okay, so I have the horse sound, and I'm just going to go and bring that out. You see it populates through everything. So let's just go and see what this sounds like. Let's just go back to the scene. See what I mean? It creates an echo. Just put your sound on the down, okay? Don't put it in any other layer. I'm telling you, really, don't put it. Just put it on the down. Don't put it in the over, because it really will cause a lot of issues. Now let's go back to the on button. I want to just show you one more thing before I leave here. I'm going to go through this again. Yeah, let's go to the properties panel. You have to click right in the down section here, to right inside there, to make sure you can see your sound, and make sure where it says sync, you make sure it is set to event, because you just want it to play once. Okay, so you're going to select event for this particular file. Now let's just do the other one over again, because I'm not too pleased with it. So let me go back and do the off button. I'm going to get rid of this layer. I'm going to put it on again. Sometimes it's easier just to trash your layer than trying to change things. Alright, so now I'm going to grab the horse sound, bring it out, and just put it on the down. Go out and double check my properties panel and make sure it's set to event. Let's go out and see how it sounds now. Much better. Okay, so remember that. Only put your sound on the down keyframe, okay? And so that's the end of this. So we're gonna next tutorial I'm gonna show you how to put some action script on your different buttons.